But demand for online data is escalating. Global companies are making an increased effort to strategically analyze consumers' digital habits in an attempt to positively impact their business. It's all about big data. CNBC Africa's Benedict Paether went out and put this package together for us.
A revolution is underway in our tech space where big data holds the key to unlocking big benefits for both consumers as well as companies.
All the big firms, Apple, Google, Twitter, they've all gone through a phase of acquiring a lot of these data, big data, machine learning businesses.
The process of machine learning involves extracting large-scale data from online interactions and strategically using that data to link the most relevant product up with the right consumer.
If we look at two of the largest digital retailers in the world, the one in the entertainment space would being Netflix and the other Amazon, 75% of Netflix's business is now done through their recommendations. So that intelligence gives them a massive competitive advantage. It's the most core part of their business. On Amazon's side, it's around 35% of their business. Now, Amazon's a huge business, so that's a lot of money that is driven out of their intelligence and recommendations.
Consumer interactions include anything from online page views and purchases to clicks and likes. Machine learning aims to find correlations which can be acted on, and this technology is not limited to just retail.
And I think that it's an incredibly powerful technique that we're sitting on right now that has the ability to influence the business world, the healthcare world, the education space, the environment. It has multiple applications across all of those, and I think that we can make a real difference on this. And I know that there's some work even being done on rhino poaching, and looking at some hardcore data analytics in that space.
Research around machine learning remains an ongoing process, and with it comes questions around accuracy and consumer privacy. Universal interest into this process, however, continues to gain momentum, while the possibilities are limitless. Benedict Paether, CNBC Africa, Cape Town.
Joining us now from our Cape Town studio to discuss this concept of big data and disruptive technology is Wayne Speechley from Internet Solutions. Hi there, Wayne. Good to have you on the program. Discovery are a leader in global fields in their own area in many parts of the world. That's why we've got the Pru and Humana who are partnering with them. But the one thing they've been doing aggressively is investing heavily in this thing called big data. Why would, for instance, a company like Discovery find that an interesting place to place their bets?
Hi, Alec. I think firstly, big data is changing the way we analyze information on a much larger scale. And so it's not only about quick collection from a huge number of sources, but also the ability to make decisions about that information in a timely fashion. And often what you'll see that is the current computing landscape for many enterprises just cannot scale, and the fact that there's a lot more data points to start collecting really does make it quite a difficult dynamic.
Wayne, sorry man, we seem to have a technical problem. We've got all you guys in the studio in Cape Town this morning, and somebody's forgotten to open your microphone. I'm sure that's going to happen in just a moment. So I'm afraid we were watching your lips move. It was it was like an old Hong Kong karate movie, but unable to see what you were saying. I sincerely hope that your microphone is now open. And let's go back into that question about big data and why a company like Discovery would find it such an interesting area to make some bets.
Okay, Alec, I'm hoping that you can
perfect.
Hear me now.
Wayne, we got you hundreds. Sorry about that. Our technical issue.
Excellent. No problem. So, really it's around this need to start to collect huge amounts of data from your customers and from your value chain and being able to process that on a much larger scale. And one of the challenges that we see is that the current computing environments of customer environments and of enterprises just cannot scale to take on all of that information. Being it as it may, the timing input in terms of how it is that you can collect that data, process it and start to make decisions is something that requires a lot of infrastructure. And that's where the dynamic of big data and sort of the marrying of the technology to what the enterprise is looking for becomes a key requirement.
Wayne, you're going to have to start speaking English to us. Enterprise, requirement, you're using big words there. Let's keep it real nice and simple. Every day, you and I go somewhere, we do something with our cell phone, with our credit card. There's data that's generated from it. Somebody can analyze this and make better business out of it. Where are we in this whole cycle, if you like, of being more scientific about analyzing what consumers are doing?
So let's use an example in retail. Now, you walk into a shopping center, and in that shopping center, you've got a whole lot of movement and you've got a whole lot of interest. Now, one of the challenges that the shops are experiencing is that they don't know how to create the right experience based on the requirements and what their users have in mind. So what you're starting to see now is the ability to collect a whole lot of information, whether it be where people are, whether it be what interests them, whether it be where their movements are, what do they pause at. And in fact, what you can now do is, by collecting that information very quickly and vast amount of that information, you can start to correlate it against other pieces of information, like what day of the week it is, what is the weather outside, what is the current economic climate. And when you start to put all of that data together, what you really start to create is the ability for businesses to start to understand their clients and to start to make decisions. And I think the benefit to that is that in the real time, you can actually customize what it is that you give to your potential shoppers or the visitors to your store, and based on what their preference is.
But doesn't this give the big guys even more of an advantage? Or if you're small, if you're a startup, an entrepreneur, are there opportunities for you also to benefit from this wealth of data that you can apply more scientifically?
Well, one of the nice things about big data is that the sources of the different types of data are becoming widely accessible to everybody. And that is because of technologies like the internet and cloud, which are becoming far more mainstream. So you are correct to say that large business is probably able to accelerate the adoption of big data and make its usefulness ready a lot sooner. But having said that, a lot of smaller organizations are now able to get access to these tools because big data and cloud technology and the availability of that information just makes it that much more easily accessible.
As far as you guys are concerned at IS, have you been investing heavily to ensure that your clients can tap into this?
I think what you're seeing right now in South Africa is that we're definitely trailing what's happening in the US. So there's a lot of interest in the market around how big data can be used. But at the same time, I think a lot of businesses are starting to get their heads around what is the actual practicality. And from an IS point of view, because of the infrastructure that we have in place and because of the relationships that we've had, what we're really looking to achieve is to bring that information together into a shared data source and make it available to our clients. But I think the reality is, at this point, clients want to understand, and they don't want to make a substantial investment or take on a lot of risk, how it's actually going to impact their business right now.